Do you have a list of uncomfortable memories that you wish you could just delete? If so, then this is for you. I'd like to share a simple 4-step process that you can use to, well, not delete, but rewrite painful or embarrassing memories in a way that will help you to let go of them and move on. Before I tell you how to do this, please bear in mind that journaling about trauma or other deeply emotional experiences can be challenging. If you want to address something but don't feel safe to do it on your own, please seek the help of a trained professional. As long as you do feel comfortable, however, here's how to use journaling to begin the work of memory reframing in 4 simple steps. Step 1. Identify a memory to work on. As mentioned, I suggest you keep this manageable, especially for your first session. Pick something like a moment of mild embarrassment or a minor failure. Once you have it, consider the message this memory conveys. Why is this a negative memory for you? What does it make you feel or believe about yourself or about the world around you? Negative memories bear negative messages. They narrate stories of pain and failure in our minds. Stories such as, I'm a bad person, I'm stupid, or other people are dangerous. The point of memory reframing is to start telling better, more productive, realistic, and self-accepting stories. So don't dwell on the negative message. Just get a sense of it before moving on. The next step is to self-distance. In order to rewrite an old memory, you need to avoid getting drawn back into the thoughts and feelings of that time, because if you do that, you may simply re-experience the event rather than reframe it. There are many ways to self-distance, and I've made videos about the variations before, so here I'm just going to share my favourite simple method. Imagine you can view your memory as if through the eyes of an objective, preferably compassionate or wise observer. To do this, you must step out of the first-person perspective. Step out of your body and mind and assume the position of someone else. If you don't like the idea of a stranger viewing your past self, you could see it through the eyes of a loved one, or your future self, or even a beloved pet or toy. The most important thing is that you step out of your old self and see the situation afresh. Once you've done that, journal about the event from this angle. Or, if you're doing this in your head, you can use your inner monologue here. I will say, though, that I think it's easier on paper. Start by describing in simple terms what's happening. Then go into more detail about what you can see your remembered self thinking, feeling, and doing in response to the event. Write about the conclusions your remembered self is coming to as a result of this experience, and consider these in a more objective way. A note. If your memory involves another person's actions, you can also view them from this objective angle, but I'd avoid spending too much time thinking about them. And I definitely caution against describing their actions, thoughts, or feelings in detail, because this might just draw you back into the original story. Now, once you feel you've covered this distanced perspective, you can move on to the final step, which is to condense the wisdom and compassion of this new take into one simple healing message. This message is, obviously, a counter for the negative message you landed on in step 1. It's a better story to tell. There are no rules for how this message should go, but you want it to capture the essence of your reframe, and it will likely be most effective when it comes from a place of love and acceptance rather than logic alone. For example, if you're focusing on an argument with an ex in which they said something that made you feel worthless, that's the original story, your reframed message might sound something like this. Those old words say more about your ex than you. You are valuable and important regardless of their pain. Notice that this message is in the second person. I said you are valuable, not I am valuable. And you should do the same with your message. Speak to your past self, not as them. This will keep you in a self-distance position. That's it, really. Once you have this better story, all that's left to do is to program it in, by which I basically mean revisit it repeatedly until it starts to feel true. Write it down, stick it in a diary alarm or reminder on your phone, say it to yourself last thing at night so it's on your mind as you sleep. And most importantly, see if you can start acting as if it's true before it starts to feel that way. Ultimately, you are in charge of the stories you tell about yourself. It can take a little time and effort to rewrite your most limiting narratives, but it is entirely possible. I wish you the very best of luck.